Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. So glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Cate Grieves, who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Cate.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, everyone, for being here, for joining. So today, the introduction to the meditation is lesson 31. I am not the victim of the world I see. So I'm just going to go through the introduction in this lesson. I'm not going to read it all out. I'm just going to read it in a way that we can do it as a meditation today. So today's idea is the introduction to your declaration of release. I am not the victim of the world I see is a declaration of release. Again, the idea should be applied to both the world you see without and the world you see within. So to start with, we're just going to do some preliminary work now, and then we'll go into the meditation with some other instructions. So I want you to look about you slowly while repeating the idea 2 or 3 times. So just look about you in your room, wherever you are, and just repeat slowly. I am not the victim of the world I see. Then close your eyes and apply the same idea to your inner world. So just for a few minutes, look at your inner world and repeat slowly. I am not the victim of the world I see. You will escape from both of these worlds together, for the inner world is the cause of the outer. So the inner world that we live in our mind causes us to see it in the outer. As you survey your inner world, merely let whatever thoughts cross your mind come into your awareness, each to be considered for a moment and then replaced. Watch your thoughts come and go as dispassionately as possible. So just for a few minutes, watch your thoughts in your mind. Watch them come and go. Do not dwell on any one thought in particular, but try to let the stream move on evenly and calmly without any special investment on your part. As you sit and quietly watch your thoughts, repeat today's idea to yourself. as often as you care to, but with no sense of hurry. So we'll lead into the meditation now. So the instructions for the meditation is to just sit quietly and repeat this idea from time to time. You can decide how often you want to repeat it. So over the 20 minutes, you can choose how you want to apply this idea. But the main instructions or guidelines are to say it very slowly. We'll start now. I am not the victim of the world I see.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 19 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off of mute. And if you'd like to ask Cate a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Fabian, was that your hand? Please share.
Yes. Thank you very much, Cate. It was very spot on, because I often feel the victim of the world I see, being bombarded by bad news and negative things. And yeah, what the Course says about our inner world that is creating the outer world is very true, but it's easy to forget it. So the question I want to ask you is, how can I transform my inner world in a sustainable way so that I can see good things outside?
Okay, so this is a we did lesson 31 today. I am not the victim of the world I see. And lesson 32 leads on to I have invented the world I see. And then lesson 33, there is another way of looking at the world. And lesson 34, I could see peace instead of this. So if you were to put those four together, they will lead you from originally, the reason why we say I'm not the victim of the world I see, because rightly we think we are the victim, and that's why we have to deny it. And if you read through lesson 34 very slowly and apply to everything that you see, I could see peace instead of this situation or this person saying this or that. I could see peace. We open it up to our choice. And if you regularly say this, I mean, you could say, I could see peace instead of this to everything all day long for months, and you would sustainably start to move into a state of mind that is experiencing a lot more peace. This is a really wonderful lesson. I could see peace in this situation instead of what I now see in it. And then there's another little italics over the page. I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, or worry, or my thoughts about this situation, personality, or event with peace. So those four little lessons, you could do them on an ongoing basis and really hone in. They're like a really good little forgiveness process of starting with, I am not the victim of the world I see, taking the cause back to, I have invented what I'm seeing. Okay, so if I've done that, then there is another way of looking at it, and I'm going to look at it with peace.
Thank you very much, Cate. That's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who'd like to share? Ayu, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Cate. Yesterday morning, I felt that my husband accused me because I used a particular kind of a washing powder, so that caused his itchy skin because he has allergic. And then we had a little fight. I resisted it, my anger, but a couple hours after, I told myself, I want to see the way you, Holy Spirit, would see I want to see peace instead of this. And it took for a while, but the somebody said the phrase of in 20 years. And that word of in 20 years just instantly thought, no, I don't want to wait another 20 years to be peace. So my impulse came quickly. I texted him to apologize my not kind attitude. And then I should have been more sympathetic to your skins and I love you. So he texted me back, thank you, that's okay. I love you too. So that was okay. But after that, I felt still something left in me. And maybe I felt reacted as an impulse because when I look more deeper, why I behave that way, because I felt I'm not good enough to looking after my husband's skin. I'm inadequate to, as a wife and brother and so on. So maybe I should have see his face to face. The reason I said this because I felt I was attacked. So to defend my position, I said this. That is my honest feeling. So I should have explained that. I don't know. But my question to you, Cate, is when I reacted to texted him, almost I felt like an impulse. It looks like a good thing to apologize to him and say, I love you and so on. But if I was stop and pause long enough to more download or communicate the Holy Spirit's more deeper level, would I have another so-called better guidance or more honest, peaceful guidance rather than quickly sort of impulse came? It looks like a good result, but still, why do I still feel in this way? If I felt everything was okay, I should have been peace and everything's fine. So that's my question, Cate. Thank you.
Yeah. So in the moment, you've asked the Holy Spirit, you've put forgiveness to work after you've reacted from the ego. Then you've put forgiveness, you've had right-minded thoughts, and you've extended love to your brother. So you've done the forgiveness, but what's happened is you still feel the ego wants to be right, and also it's like it looks for guilt. It wants to blame, find someone to blame. And so it's either your husband or it's you. And initially it was him. He was attacking you, so he's guilty. And this is not you. These are the ego thoughts. So the ego thoughts are not our real thoughts, but you can watch them, how they want to blame. And then when you apologize, he wants to blame you. So the blaming you is this idea of sin. But it's really, for us, it comes through as this idea of being unworthy, like not being a good wife or mother. That's how it manifests in our mind. But it's really the belief in sin and guilt that are a little bit deeper in our minds. So it's really the way to be completely free of any belief is to just continually apply forgiveness to those wrong-minded thoughts, and don't judge yourself when you do join the ego and get angry and feel attacked, because it's going to happen. It's really important to be kind to yourself as you go through your forgiveness opportunities. So as Ken Wapnick says, you wouldn't be able to undo this hidden belief in guilt unless you were able to see it in that moment, that I was projecting the guilt. Because I feel guilty, I'm already thinking I'm not a good wife. And then the evidence comes out in the outer world to say that I've done something wrong with the washing. And now somebody's saying something and my guilt is rising up in my mind. So I have to project it out because I don't want it. It's too much because I think I'm guilty. I think I'm a bad mother or a bad wife. I'm already living in those thoughts that say that. That's the ego. So all you need to do is look back at what happened and slow it right down and see how the ego works. So next time you become more and more aware how the ego comes in. And one of the things that for me about feeling guilt about being a partner or mother or father or whatever is to see that I chose the ego. And that's why Jesus calls it like a lack of love, so you saw your lack of love towards your husband. In the moment when you want to project guilt, you can't extend love. So it's just another opportunity to forgive. And that feeling of unworthiness, or that I'm not a good mother, I'm something wrong with me. Generally, that's how it feels. There's something wrong with me, like everyone else are good wives, but I'm really bad, because that's the ego's ploy, right? It says that to everyone, that everyone else knows what to do and is a great wife or great husband or great parent, and they're wise and they know everything and they've got the right answers. And the ego always uses comparisons, right? So it's always going to compare you to everyone else and tell you how bad you are. So the best thing to do is to really come to these teachings that I am as God created me. I don't have to become as God created me. I'm already that now. I am already perfect, pure, whole, complete, innocent, and guiltless. I am already that now. I don't have to try to get it, but I have to undo this idea that I'm not. I have to let go of it, and I have to come to see that I don't have to be a good wife to be as God created me. I can muck up and get the wrong detergent every week and still be as God created me. And that's the humorous side of it, isn't it? Your husband could be complaining to you for the next 10 years and you are both as God created you. So it lightens it up, doesn't it? Yeah.
Who'd like to share? Angela, take yourself off mute.
Hi everyone. Hello Kate, lovely to see you again. And I had a lovely visualization, so I really appreciate you reminding me of this lesson, those 4 lessons, because I've got caught up with something of late. So it's just wonderful. It's a gift. And the visualization I had, I followed the instructions about looking around outside. And of course, in this moment, in a quiet room, I can say that and it doesn't evoke any feelings or anything because it looks perfectly fine. And then when I went inside, well, it was like a metropolis. There was so much going on in my mind, in my inner world. And I ended up having a conveyor belt, like at an airport. And there was all these aspects of my thoughts embodied, not just a thought. They were actually the things I was worrying about. And they were just going, you said watch it going past like a stream of thought. And there they were on the conveyor belt. And it's quite overwhelming what's in there, really, and the various concerns or worries, preoccupation about my family, about health, about death, about future, just a whole collection of things were there. And yeah, I feel quite overwhelmed thinking about it. And then there was an opening on the conveyor belt thing, and so they were kind of coming to an end, all this stream, and I got on behind them because following them. And I thought, well, this is my life. And I was repeating, I'm not the victim of the world I see, but I was there following it all. until I suddenly had this like energy come, and I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And on the side, on the arm of the conveyor belt thing, you know, with the walkway as the top bit, there was a red button, an emergency stop. So I slammed the emergency stop on and turned around to the empty conveyor belt. And I thought, no, I want to leave all that behind. Walked down the empty conveyor belt. And at the bottom of it, there was this huge open garden, all beautiful and peaceful. So, and it was like the words new beginning, fresh start, all these kind of things were coming to my mind. And I felt a lack of commitment to make this new start and how to let go of all that conveyor belt rubbish. That was it. I was offered this fresh start, but I didn't feel the commitment. So anything to say about the commitment?
Okay, so what I could suggest for you, Angela, is to maybe after the Zoom is finished, spend some time, because it's the start of your day today, if you don't have to go off to work or anything, or if you do, maybe do it after work, is sit quietly and look at what you were shown, because that's the Holy Spirit showing you two different directions. And it's interesting that that beautiful quiet garden is part of the course, you know, saying this is your mind, a quiet garden. And the way you'll make the commitment to see peace instead of these thoughts on a conveyor belt is really thinking about how you feel. You know, when you said, you know, my mind was overwhelmed, do you want that or do you want the peace? Do you want the quiet garden? And so the motivation is really just to apply when you start to feel yourself getting upset by something, just to remember to say, I could see peace instead of this. I want to, and I'm going to, and spend a few minutes getting quiet, sitting down, looking at the situation and saying, show me how to see peace instead of this. If one thing that you can get to is you can, generally I'll do it at night time when I get into bed, but just, he says to search the cornerstones of our mind for anything that's not of love. And you can make it a routine where you get into bed and just say, show me anything in my mind that needs healing. And it will all be brought up in front of you. It will show you where you might be looking at maybe a workload, something at work. You feel, oh, this is too much work, or it'll show you something you said to someone that you've forgotten about. Everything will come in, and each thing that you need to do forgiveness on will just appear in your mind, and it will diminish. It will just be let go. As the Holy Spirit will show you those things in your mind, and they will just disappear, because forgiveness. But it really comes from, I would encourage everyone to have a really strong commitment and determination to practice forgiveness, because you do have the peace of God at the end of it. And as he says, it's no small thing, this peace. And you do need a lot of willingness to practice it, because it's very easy to get caught up and think, no, I don't have time to sit quietly and look at it with the Holy Spirit. I've got to get this thing done, or I've got to make a call or something, do the shopping. But put the Course's teachings as the most important thing in your life, and you'll see massive changes in your world, and you will live in peace. So I would encourage you to choose you might have, because what that little thing that just says, I'm not sure whether I can do this. The ego has this idea that if you have peace, there's going to be some sacrifice. It always brings in this little question in your mind that I'm going to lose something, I'm going to sacrifice something if I do this forgiveness the way Jesus wants me to do it. And we have to move past that and say, no, there's nothing, there's no loss in having the peace of God, peace of mind. You still are seemingly in the world, you know, you're still operating. You just don't have any fear in your mind, that's all. You just know who everyone is and you just love everybody fully, completely, because you know who they are.
I have at times experienced that and revert back.
Yeah.
But I have at times, so I know exactly what you're talking about and how that feels. Yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
So think about the suffering that you have when you don't do it. That will make you choose. That's what we have, why we choose to do the forgiveness, is because we have to think about how we're suffering when we're not doing it. And so the suffering motivates us.
Okay, everyone, we've come to the top of the hour. Thank you, Kate. That was wonderful. So appreciate it.
Thank you,
Take yourself
everyone.
off mute and show your appreciation to Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Kate.
Absolutely
fantastic.
fantastic.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.